have your fear, which might become reality. And you have Godzilla, which is reality.
I'm sick of Godzilla.
Wake up, Megalon!
There are two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Godzilla.
We're safe enough. No human being can understand that. The monsters on Monster Island can understand it.
Whether he returns or not, or is never again seen by human eyes, the things he has taught us remain.
Monster Island.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to YHS on Monster Island. I'm Jacob Walsh, and listen, I just want to say, thank you for listening, for watching. I know that there is a lot of places for you to get your kaiju content and your news and your toy news and all of that, but none of those places have J Key.
I hope not. If they do, then it is a deep fake.
If they do, you're fired. No,
I know, right? Oh yeah, sorry, Jake. I've been moonlighting over here. No, I agree. I echo that. I do know there's a ton of really good places.
There's a lot of good stuff out there,
but ours is the best for sure.
I'm not saying you can't watch those.
Yeah,
like watch
them
everything.
Second.
But I'm just saying I appreciate that you're over here watching these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad that they're back with us after last week where I was by myself. And if they can put up with a J-Key one-man booth and come back, then they are a true diehard fan of YHS on Monster Island. And we like you even better.
Yeah. So this week, I mean, we got a little bit of not a ton. Well, listen, I don't want to say not a ton because we are going to be talking about a couple of new trailers, which are pretty exciting. And even though I guess Monarch Legacy of Monsters shows you a lot of good stuff in there.
For sure.
We'll get to that stuff. But yeah, we're going to do that. Other than the trailers, not a ton of news. Got a little bit of toy news we'll talk about.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't think we have. Now, Jay, did you, as far as pickups go, I know you got nothing, right?
Yeah. No, I did all of mine last week, including that potential toy of the year, kaiju toy of the year, that Sun Guts Minya and Mothra larva combo. But no, that's nothing other than that. But I had a good week last week, but then nothing this week. Hopefully next time that we chat, I'll have some really cool pickups. I know I will actually.
Same. I don't have anything either. The only two things that I have not showed off here, I'm pretty sure you might have showed off on your own.
Did. Yes,
the Gorgo and the
Pulgasari.
Yes, I did also pick those guys up, and I think that that's Gorgo right there. Gorgo sitting on my bookshelf. Just
there
chilling.
She is.
And then there's I believe that's Big Ben hanging out.
Okay.
I did pick up Gorgo. Pulgasari.
What'd you think of him?
Oh, I love it. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. It's like weird having a figure that it's so articulated and the toes are articulated. And I'm like, oh, this feels like a Marvel Legends Gorgo figure. And it's got like the interchangeable head and Gorgo's mom, all the accessories. I love it. The packaging's great. It's such a fun little figure. I'm also like blown away by that was a crowdfund figure, and it like smashed all of the went right through, got all of the stretch goals, and I'm happy about that. And I talked about it a little bit on Toy Anxiety. Gorgo was lesser known, maybe not in the kaiju community, but like regular people who know who Godzilla is might hear Gorgo and say, what Godzilla movie is Gorgo from? So I love that we got it. It's a great toy.
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy with it. And Pulgasari, I already own that sculpt. So I knew I was going to like it no matter what. The color's great. I love the crazy.
It is.
I was thinking about going back and also ordering the other the colorway that they found, the green and purple, but I got to chill out, so I left it there. But for now, 3 Pulgasari are enough.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the hunt for a vintage Pulgasari. I want a vintage.
Oh yeah, the Marmot ones.
So yeah. But yeah, dude. So no pickups here either, dude. I don't have any pickups. I haven't watched anything new.
Me
It's been
neither.
so busy over here with
Yeah.
all the podcasting, and was out of town at Toy Fair pretty recently. Going out of town next week as well. So, dude, I got nothing. Have you watched anything or anything new?
I haven't. It's funny on the show last week I was talking about how like every day I wake up, I'm like, once the kids go to bed, if I'm not recording this, I'm gonna watch a show. And then like just work gets in the way or other things. And it's like I get in bed and I'm like, maybe I watch a Spectre Man, maybe I watch an Ultraman, a Kamen Rider, and I fall asleep like 30 minutes in. I haven't like sat down and watched, and I'm like really like wanting to like just sit down, maybe like take like an afternoon off or something from work and just put on some kaiju movies.
Yeah.
And I go really like right now it's like maybe the Godzilla channel's playing on in the background. Maybe,
Same.
I'll catch like here and there, but I don't know. I've just been like, I've been saying to myself like through the course of the day, I want to rewatch this movie and this movie and this movie. And it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like 40 movies that I want to rewatch that and I just don't have any time to do it. And that doesn't even count like newer movies. Like those aren't even, I'm not even thinking about newer movies coming out. Like it's just like, I mean, it just is like, I want to rewatch, movies I've seen 100 times because they're just like top of mind. Like the other day I was thinking, like I was talking to myself, I was like, oh man, I saw something that triggered it. And I was like, I haven't watched King Kong Escape since I think one of the first weeks that we started doing YHS on Monster Island. And I was like, oh man, it was such a good flick and a fun flick and just goofy and awesome. And, Doctor Who, Hideo Amamoto is so funny in that. And I was like, I'm going to watch that tonight. And then of course I haven't yet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I want to watch that. So it's every day there's another movie that is triggered. And, Space Amoeba was one that was triggered today because I was moving some stuff around and I had my M1, the gold lottery Gezera, and I was moving him to make room actually for Gorgo, the Titanic Creations one. And I was like, oh, I haven't watched Space Amoeba since Jake and I talked about it.
Yeah.
I need to watch that. Yeah, it's one of those things.
Dude, same that happens to me too. And me and Jess will be talking about kaiju or something, and I'll be like, oh, that's from this, or I'll be like, oh, that's from an Ultra Q episode, or she'll be like, recently Jess got into Busca and Kenagong, and she like does it, and I'm like, that's one of the best Ultra Q episodes, what I mean? And we watched me and Jess were watching your Ultra Q like rundown, and I'm like, we have to watch some Ultra Q, and then I'm like writing all these. I showed her Zegra, whenever the Gamera show was on, I was like, oh, you gotta see Gamera versus Zegra. It's like same thing. You're just like, it's hard to watch that shit. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna be here next week, and we're just gonna sit down and watch some kaiju and probably buy toys. So
I love it. Well, hey, it's funny you mentioned that. One of the bits of Toy News today has a kind of a different interpretation of Busca that I think Jess might really like. She might really like. Right. I think it's really cool, but not to like totally tease on that one. But yeah, there's always something Busca going on. I mean, like for popular. I know for a kaiju that has like his original source material isn't even subtitled in English, like you can't get it anywhere. Like the toy representation is through the roof. It's amazing, and thank goodness, because we all love Busca.
Yeah, well, it's like sometimes a kaiju design like trends, and it transcends like what show it came from or whatever, and it's like everybody knows who Pigmon or Garamon is, even if like they know who these characters are, which is great. So nothing new as far as watching. Where should we go first? Should we go to Toy Fair first? Should we?
Yeah, let's talk Toy Fair, man. Because that was we missed you a couple weeks ago when you guys were getting wined and dined, and I was. That's the episode that I had with our good buddy Attack Peter when he came on, and
it was a good episode.
We were just really jealous, man. We're like, hey, what? I want to be treated like some VIPs out at Toy Fair, like the Toy Anxiety crew.
Dude, we could probably get you there. Toy Fair is fun. And for anybody who doesn't really, I find that a lot of people in my regular life don't know what Toy Fair is. I didn't know what it was, for a while. But so Toy Fair is, it's this convention in New York, and it's basically where all the big toy companies, and not just all the big toy, there's hundreds of toy companies here. Any toy company, they set up they show off the new merchandise, and they're basically selling to investors or marketing or selling to stores or whatever.
Yeah.
Everybody, retailers. People are walking around in suits. It is not open to the public. You're either, if you're there, you're in the industry, or you're press. So, and you can tell, like, you can walk around and you're like, that's a toy tuber. That's a toy tuber. But YHS, we went for the first time in 2020, right before the world shut down, like 2 weeks before the world shut down. The thing about Toy Fair is that it used to be held like in February, beginning of the year, and they would reveal all the new stuff. Like when we went in 2020, Hasbro was showing off all the new we got to see all the Ghostbuster stuff for the first time, big like presentation. But since COVID, they haven't done Toy Fair. So some of these companies like Hasbro now just does their own online thing. Mattel did their own thing online. So some of those companies weren't there. Also, they had it at the end of the year instead of the beginning of the year. So like a lot of companies had already, like, there were still reveals. Like NECA still had some new stuff. Super 7 had a few new things. Trick or Treat Studios. But like most of the new stuff has already been.
You had Comic-Con, you had all that stuff before.
Yeah, Comic-Con just happened, so we weren't sure what it was going to be like going in. We only went for one day. It's like a 3-day event. We just said we just need one day this time. So we went in for one day, checked everything out. There were some reveals, there was some good stuff, but not a lot of news for Godzilla, which bummed me out. And I tried to, document any Godzilla or Kaiju stuff that I saw, and there was some. But mainly it was all stuff that I've already seen. Super 7 had a little bit they had some reactions that were new paint jobs that were going to be exclusives for New York Comic-Con, which was the week after. And they had all their Ultimates on display, but nothing like big that we hadn't seen. Monster Arts was there, Bandai was there, but nothing new. The one thing that I really liked seeing was in the Bandai booth, they had the nano blocks. It's coming out with a bunch of Godzilla stuff. And nano blocks is not something I usually care about. It's not something I buy. But they're putting out a whole Godzilla wave, and it looks awesome. And there's some bigger ones. And I talked to the guy at the Bandai guy remembered me.
That's awesome.
From 2020. It was crazy because the Bandai booth had the big the big 8-foot tall 2014 Godzilla statue at their booth, and I saw the nanoblocks. I was like, I want to go in here and take a picture. That's where all the Monster Art stuff was, stuff we've seen. But I was like, I want to get in this booth, and they were like, oh, you have to have some of the toy booths you have to have an appointment for to get in. And they were like, well, you have to have appointments to get in here. You can't just walk in. And they didn't have it. It wasn't like that when we went in 2020. You could just walk in. But there was a guy standing there, and he was like, hey, I toured you guys through the booth in 2020. And I was like, I remember that. You did. You toured us through.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, you guys, yes, have some. He knew who we were because he remembered the name.
That's awesome.
And it was funny. Like, Abby was in the bathroom, and he was like, hey, didn't you guys have like a little girl with you last time? And we were like, me and Craig are like, yeah, she's here. She's in the bathroom. But he was like, yeah, I remember you guys. And he goes, I got time. I can tour you guys through. He's like, what'd you want to see? And I was like, I just want to see the Godzilla stuff. He's like, come on in. So he showed us around, and
that's amazing.
I actually need to email. He gave me his card. He was like, hey, I can get you on the product list. He was
nice.
What's funny is he was like, hey, I've been promoted a couple times since last time I saw you guys. So
it's who you know, man. It's who you know.
So we did get to tour through, and we saw what Bandai had and what Monster Arts had. I just didn't see a ton of new stuff, man. Like there were a lot of companies that had random stuff. There were plushies, banks, like,
of course,
stuff
all the
like
merch
that.
Stuff.
But I did not see. Now I was only there for one day. It's a big place. I'm not saying there wasn't anything new. There were, but like I did not see anything. That I did not see at Comic-Con. Really, you know what I mean.
Sure.
So don't really have like a lot of Godzilla news to report. from Toy Fair. It was fun, but I was bummed out. Here's one thing I could say is, so Playmates was there.
Mm-hmm.
And Playmates has got the Godzilla X Kong license.
Mm-hmm.
You also needed an appointment for Playmates, but we had one. So we had an appointment. They bring you, so it's like from the outside of the Playmates. A lot of the places at Toy Fair, it's so crazy. It's like you're already at an event that is an exclusive event that not everybody gets to, but then still they close things off, and it's like, so you have to get there, and then you also have to have an appointment. So Playmates booth is completely closed off, and there's a woman outside with an appointment book, they let you in or whatever, and they tour you through. But when we get inside the Playmates booth, it's all Turtles. It's all Ninja Turtle stuff. And we did get to see Ninja Turtle stuff that's not out yet. We got to see,
that's cool.
We got to see the line. We got to see the next waves from the movie that just came out.
Yeah.
And then they showed us a lot of the stuff from the series that's coming out. So like that's
Very
stuff
cool.
that's going to be a while before. And I mean, there's like character reveals and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, he's in the show. And they're like, yeah, he's in the show,
Yeah.
And they're like
NDA.
showing us all this. Yeah, it's all shit like that. And they let us he was like, you guys can take pictures of this, this and this. Don't take pictures of anything else. So there was some stuff we got to reveal. But then in the back of this room is another door. And on the door, it says Godzilla X Kong. And there's a big picture of Godzilla and Kong. And I'm like, hold on. We're at an exclusive event. We're already inside an exclusive building.
Yeah.
There's another door on the inside of that. And all the Godzilla Kong toys were behind that. And he was like, and I told him, I was like, hey man, big Godzilla. I was like, I know we can't go back there, but we have a Godzilla show, Kaiju show.
Yeah.
And he was like, that stuff is all under, the Godzilla Kong stuff is all under embargo until January.
Really?
Which makes me believe that must be when the trailer's coming out, because the toys are going to spoil all kinds. Of course. You know how it is. Like the toys are going to
Mecha Godzilla 2021.
Yeah. The toys are going to have all the other Kaiju. They're going to have spoilers. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. So they had them there, but they were exclusively for people, I think maybe merchandisers or people who were buying. They were there, but for people to see other than YouTubers. So didn't get to see any of it, but it was behind a door. I did look through a crack. Yeah. There was a little crack, and I did this thing. And I peeked through, and the only thing I saw were Godzilla's spines. But they were red.
Okay.
So that's all I know. And I mean,
we're gonna fact check you when that comes out. We're gonna validate you.
Hey, they came last time. They came out with those Godzilla and Kong toys with all the weird shit on them,
armor and stuff.
Wasn't in the movie either, so it could be anything. But
isn't that crazy though? Like you were feet away. You had one partition separating you from not only like toys that we won't even know about for a few months, but like potentially major spoilers for the next month.
I tried to sneak in. There's people like, while you're in there and they're giving you the tour, there's like more important people walking in and out of those doors. And anytime the door is open, I'm just like,
sneak in.
Just like follow somebody in like I'm supposed to be there. Maybe they won't notice.
20, hey, take some pictures.
But the guys,
awesome, man.
The guys at Playmates were really cool, and we did. He did take our information, and I think we may have gotten put on a list for Playmates as well. Very cool. So yeah, we'll be talking about all that stuff, as time goes on. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
And the video that you put up for the Godzilla specific stuff on the Toy Anxiety channel is awesome. So like, if anybody wants to visualize everything you saw, was
nothing crazy, but just like a little, just some of the stuff I saw. It does have the nano blocks in it, a couple other fun things, but one company, and I don't even remember who it was, had some Ultraman stuff, and they had a Zoffy and some of the Shin Ultraman stuff, and they looked great. They looked really cool. I really want that stuff, but yeah, man,
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's about it though.
Speaking of toys,
dude, Toy Fair is great. Listen, Toy Fair is fun. I wish we could get more. Like, I bet we could. bet we could get Monster. I bet we could get you at Toy Fair if you want to come Toy Fair
Yeah.
next year. It ends up being like just like a YHS vacation though, because we were there for like we were there for a week. We went to Toy Fair for one day.
Yeah, no, right. You went to go see the Jaws Broadway show, and then
Dude.
you know, when your free time you went to Toy Fair.
We did. We went to the Jaws show. We went to we ate dinner at Chinatown. We went to Sleepy Hollow. We did a lot of fun stuff. But we went to Toy Tokyo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice store. I've definitely bought some things there before. A lot of Safubi, but not a lot of Godzilla Safubi. It's a lot of like. It's a lot of the like one-off things.
Yeah, the indie toy stuff.
Yeah, indie toys, which is all great.
Very
That's
cool.
just not for me. So I'd rather have Godzilla Safubi. It's a fun little, trip over there, but did not pick anything up at Toy Tokyo this time.
Did you guys make it over to My Plastic Heart?
No, we didn't. Dude, My Plastic Heart is so far away from anywhere it's just like in a completely different little section, and it's just when we looked, I was like, "Oh, it's nowhere near where we're going or where we're at." So, it got left behind this time. Maybe next time we'll hit mine. It's a cool little store, but
yeah. I've never been to My Plastic Heart. I've been to Toy Tokyo. I've never been to My Plastic Heart, so I didn't know exactly where it was.
I loved My Plastic. We went. I've only been in there one time. I was a little shocked. It is very small. It is a very small store, and you're on the website and. The website seems endless. Like there's so much inventory on their website. So when you get to the store and you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's small, but that it's the same, dude. Like Abby really loves that stuff. Jess really loves that kind of stuff. Yeah. There's some stuff that I shop from My Plastic Heart, but it's very specific stuff. Yeah. But if I'm buying toys and if I'm buying Safubi, I want Godzilla stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And they just don't have that in store. So But yeah, Jay, you got some I guess toys.
Speaking toys, yeah, we got some releases, we got some cool stuff. And it was hard because last week on the show that I did, I talked about the stuff that came out at Superfest, the stuff that came out at the Taipei Toy Festival, and the stuff that came out at Hobby Round 29. But once again, I said it then, I'll say it now. You blink, you close your eyes for 2 seconds, and 1,000 new things come out. So we did get some cool stuff across a few different of our favorite brands. So let me add this here. Oh, we'll start off with X Plus. We talk X Plus. We love X Plus. So they released a few different things. These are the 3 that I wanted to highlight because I thought they were really cool. Now, 2 of these right now are pre-order only on the Japanese site, but they might slide over to the North American site as well. I feel they will. If not, secondhand market, you get it there. But the first one from the Large Monster series, we've talked about from Shin Ultraman. We really loved the Alien Zarab design, how they made it kind of like concave on the back and everything. Well, that one's coming out in the 25 centimeter line, the Large Monster series. And I thought this was so cool because that back is like a clear plastic with like the red behind it and stuff. I thought this was really cool to get this specific Seijin, this alien, in X Plus form. So I thought that was cool. And it's coming out in January. And it's $110, man. I mean, it's something that I think it looks really cool, and I hope it goes over to the US site.
Yeah, that guy's cool. I mean, he was one of the most visually, striking things in Shin Ultraman. Yeah, I love that.
So the next 2 are re-releases, but with a twist. So they definitely took an older sculpt and they upgraded it, so to speak. And so the first one, from the Gigantic series, if you want your Gigantic Mosogoji, your Godzilla 64, you can get him, and you can now get him with luminous spines, the glow in the light up spines. This is a nice classic pose of him just romping and stomping there. If you're like me, one of my favorite Godzilla suits, the 64. Oh, yeah. And this right now is on pre-order. This guy is like 19 inches tall. He's big. And this one will run you a little bit more. It's in that $500 range, but it's a Gigantic. It's big. It's awesome. And you get those light up spines. So I thought this was a cool re-release.
Dude, I mean, you can't go wrong with a Gigantic. No. I think I'm making it a personal goal that in this next year, I'm going to get my first Gigantic. I just have to.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really just a matter of like picking which one, because it's not like you're gonna go and buy 15 at a time. I mean, nobody does that. It's like it's like there's so many good ones.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard. It's a tough choice.
Yep.
And then the last one, I love this guy. I love the sculpt without the premium they added to it, but also from the 25 centimeter series, the large monster series, the Daikaiju series, goes by many names, is our favorite giant knife Giron from Gamera versus Giron. And the upgrade they did to this one was he has light up eyes. And I know it's hard to see there in the photo, but his eyes do light up like in the film. This bad boy is like 11, 12 inches long. So he's very, obviously he's 4 legs, he's long. And once again, like $110 or so, you can get this guy. And this is available right now on the North American site. So we can go grab it, and it's due out in January 2024. But I love this design. I really, honestly, like if I wasn't on a little bit of a hiatus right now, and an X Plus is not really what I'm actively going to, I might consider that. I just love the Giron design, and I think this one, they capture it really well.
Yeah, I want a gear on that. When are they going to make one that actually shoots?
The shurikens. I know, right? I know.
Press the button on the back of his head. And
I know. Yeah, who needs a rocket firing Boba Fett when you can get a ninja star shooting gear on? But X Plus always releasing stuff, and they had some more stuff. I know they had like what is it from King Mai from Ultraman and a couple other releases. But these I thought were kind of the 3 that really are like, yes, these are pretty solid. I think they did the night version Destroya Defo Reel, the final form Destroya looked pretty cool. Some from other notes.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so this one, timing is terrible. I know, because as we're recording this on the 17th, the lottery ended today. But hopefully you got your name in there. This is cool because NeoPlayerOne, we've talked about their 64s, we've talked about their 95s, and just like you can't get them because unless you want to spend $1,500, right? Like they're just expensive. There's only a few made. They all were event lotteries, all that good stuff. Well, a couple weeks ago, their third colorway for their 64, with the little Mothra on the tail, and their third colorway for Hedera, they did an overseas only, so overseas being everywhere outside of Japan, lottery, which is great. Open it up for everybody, right? And the prices were awesome. They're like $100, $125 if you win the lottery. I won the Hedera. I did not win the 64, but that one hopefully will be shipping in a few months. But they just did a lottery for a new Godzilla 95. And unlike the other ones, which are the same scale as their original, the other colorways, this one is the third colorway, but it's the first in this kind of standard size. So it's not going to be the big one. And I put that there for scale, the big one, green one, or the all red one that was released. It's a smaller version, but it's kind of that classic black with the flaming colors. But if you win the lottery, this is 8 inches tall. If you win the lottery, it's $133 is the cost.
That's nothing.
Once again, it's nothing for this, for NeoPlayerOne. So I hope I win, but they did do this. And the positive thing is, as we see more sculpts from them, as they do these really hard to get releases in Japan, we don't have to quite panic so much because there's a good chance they might do an overseas lottery and you have a chance to win those. So really cool stuff. I love this colorway. This is amazing. And it's okay that it's a little bit smaller. That's fine. It's really cool. And I hope I get it.
Yeah, dude, these guys have come out of the gate. Like, this is awesome. Yeah, I love it. I'm not going to win it either because I didn't enter. But
yeah, you can't win if you don't enter. That is true.
Exactly. But, it's beautiful. One of these days, dude. One of these days.
I think I would say for us, like you because of how you've collected so much stuff outside of Godzilla. Like you're, from Mondo Prince, whatever. Like you're comfortable. Like things can be kind of challenging to get sometimes. It's just the nature of the business, right? And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, as long as the artist is getting paid, great. And NeoPlayerOne, I felt like you and I, like, we would say, like, these are the greatest figures. These are awesome, but it sucks that not more people can get it. And I get there are financial and economic and production reasons for that. And maybe the artist only wants to make so many. Awesome. That's great. I'm just sad because I want one, right? I think doing things like this helps kind of soften that blow.
Sure.
So now it's not like, oh, NeoPlayerOne, they do the most amazing stuff, but it's not like you can ever get
It's
it.
impossible. Yeah.
Now
it's possible. It's still hard as fuck, but it's a little more possible, which is
You
great.
You can't go to Big Bad Toy Store and go buy it, but it's now getting available, and I think over time, as long as NeoPlayerOne keeps the license, and if they do really cool stuff, and who knows what they'll do next, there's somebody that we got to watch out for as being a big time player.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I don't care how hard it is to get. I don't make a, like in the world of Mondo or any of that, you see people get really mad about the like really limited quantity. And sometimes it sucks, I'm not the kind of person who gets mad if there's a bunch of a toy. And I'm not usually the kind of person who gets mad if there's only a little and I miss out.
Exactly.
Like, I just want it. If I want it, I want it. I'm going to try to get it the best I can. If I, whatever, that's just part of the fun of collecting, but these guys are great.
Yeah, the only time it's like as long as like there is a limited release because that was a choice, not like an artist was being taken advantage of and didn't make as much money because of whatever. Like that's up to them. That's great, and the quality and the greatness of a toy should exist in a vacuum, totally just totally unrelated to the quantity of that toy. I know the price doesn't, and I get it, but hey. If somebody can get $1,500 for that bad boy, get $1,500 for it, right? Like the value of it to certain people is different. It sucks for some people that can't afford it, but you know what? Like that's okay. There's going to be another amazing toy 2 seconds later. So you're good. Yep, but these are awesome, cool stuff. I'm excited to see these get in people's hands. Up next, here's that boost guy I wanted to talk about.
There he is.
Okay. So we had Marusan. I don't know how Kaminage-san and those guys keep up with it. They are just crazy. Something every day. I took these from his Instagram, Marusan_Kaminaga. Great follow. October 14th, they do these one-day pop-ups, the Kaiju Salon shops. Really cool stuff. One of the things they had, the one that happened a couple of days ago, was this Busca Reiwa, so the Reiwa period. So it's kind of like a modern interpretation of Busca, the more cartoony, more cartoony Busca. I don't know how but it's so awesome. And this is the Halloween version. They've done a few different colorways of these, including a glow-in-the-dark purple, which I talked about for the Taipei Toy Festival exclusive. I absolutely love this interpretation of Busca. This is a awesome figure. And I love the orange and the green. Like it looks like a little pumpkin.
Yeah, it's a little pumpkin. I love this too. He just looks straight out of a cartoon.
Yeah.
I love it. I want it. I want it.
He needs to be like somebody's sidekick. It's just amazing. The other thing, and I mentioned this briefly last week, is like we've seen this year, really since January, when they've really Marusan started releasing a lot of the 450 Gigan's, and then we saw the 450 Godzilla 89s and the 74s. We've had Heteros and Jet Jaguars and stuff, obviously, before. Now we're getting into Barragon. So this is one of the first 450. So the big guy, this is an orange translucent Barragon painted like that vintage, Marusan Bullmark era style of the orange with the green belly and everything. Such a classic look, but done in a modern way with the orange clear. And it's big. It's probably 12, 13 inches tall. So excited that Barragon's kind of the next one that they're exploring. I think there's going to be some really cool stuff. So they released that, and then another colorway of the 74, and this is that black, brown, and kind of copper one that we've seen in a few other Kaiju they've done. Yeah, it's a good color. I had one. That colorway of the King Ghidorah and Varan are really sharp, and Megalon are really sharp looking. But those were the three big pop-up exclusives here. Was that Halloween Busca Reiwa, and then the 450. So I thought it was some really cool stuff.
Yeah, strong stuff for sure.
Yeah. Okay, up next. So speaking of Marusan, we have some Marusan things to talk about. I thought this was cool. So at the Seibuin Amusement Park in Tokorozawa, Japan, which they had like the Godzilla ride, and now they have, I think back in July, they opened up Ultraman the Ride, The Great Duel of Destiny. Well, of course, if there's something Ultraman, Marusan has to do an event exclusive, a shop exclusive, right? And they did, and they released this really awesome 2-pack, and this is 350 series, so these are about 9-10 inches tall, of Ultraman, and of course his greatest battle with the Zeton. It sold out immediately. Well, they just restocked it, and so now these things are able to be purchased again. But I thought this 2-pack is really cool. Classic colors, done in kind of that vintage style. I just think this is a really awesome pairing of Sofubi exclusive to this ride in Sebuen.
Yeah, I just love that there's toys that are exclusive to a ride. Period.
Yeah.
I wish we did that here. But I like the Ultraman a lot. I like this style. I like the way he looks here. It's yeah, they're great, dude. These are great toys.
And one thing we haven't seen from Marusan a lot is not just like a spray, but also like kind of the inexact kind of like where it kind of painting outside the lines, which is such like a trait of like the vintage stuff. And you see that here with the Zeton, where it's not so precise. I love that. It gives it that vintage feel. Really cool stuff from those guys, but you know, it's Marusan. But speaking of really cool, this tops it all. So Kaminaga, you know, it's not enough running one of the most successful Sofubi stores or Sofubi brands. He also is now getting into writing novels. So in a couple of days, his first novel, which loosely translates to Showa Jurassic Monster Rhapsody, which is an amazing title, comes out in Japan. You can go to Amazon Japan. You can get it. No English translation yet, but amazing stuff. The reason, though, is really what I think is so cool. You know, since the original Marusan, so long before Kaminaga in the 60s, you know, they had the license to Godzilla and Tsuburaya stuff, but they also invented their own monsters and kaiju and heroes under the Maruman brand, kind of like a fun take on Marusan. And so you had like their King Godras or their Ultra Ace, not to be confused with Ultraman Ace. Those were original properties, and we still see them today. Like we see a lot of their really cool stuff that they do. They're still making those, and they're awesome. This now gives him the opportunity to build out those worlds with a book and a novel and stuff. I think that's awesome. And he mentions that in an interview I read, that it's really the goal of this is to world build for those Marusan original kaiju, which is great.
That's awesome.
What we know about a synopsis from this book is that it's set during 1966 during the kaiju boom here. And kaiju are everywhere. And it's kind of two stories. It's of a screenwriter that goes to a lake that has all these monster legends and stuff in Japan. And I'm sure they show up. Yeah. And on the other side, it's about a Japanese man his friend that goes to the US and gets trained to either fly planes, or I think it translates to fly robots. So it's going to be a little bit of like mech, Ultraman, kaiju all thrown in together to make this up. And I'm hoping we get not only backstory on some of those original Maruman kaiju, but maybe some new ones. So I think it's a great way to have another media property supporting things outside of your license and your IP properties that you work with. So kudos to the Renaissance man himself, Eiji Kaminaga, and his book release, his novel release that comes out on October 20th. Really cool stuff.
Dude, yeah, I love this because, you know, I read a lot and there are not enough kaiju books out there. You know,
none of good ones.
Not
there are some. They are bad. As somebody that is written an homage to kaiju book, being the fourth in a series, though, so I at least had loyal readers by the time they got to it. It's hard to write kaiju and deliver. It is such a visual medium, but if anybody can do it, it's going to be Kaminaga. I mean, he knows monsters.
Speaking of, I got to get that Godzilla books out.
Mine just arrived last week.
Yeah, I got to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've heard good stuff about it. But yeah, we need to have an episode reviewing that when we're both done reading it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So Marusan, a lot of Marusan. Now, this is something I wanted to bring to you that I knew almost nothing about, but I just kept on reading it, and I got more hooked and stuff. And I only know like some visuals and stuff. But so this is from a company called Tomonosuke in Japan, small vinyl toy maker. But before we get into that, I wasn't overly familiar with Moonlight Mask or Gecko Common or Common Gecko, which was a show that will be celebrating its 65th anniversary next year, technically this year too. And it was the first, you could say, the first small screen Japanese superhero. It was released in the 58 and 59, and there were some short serials, and then I think like 5 or 6 films at the time they came out, and it was basically the Japanese answer to like the Lone Ranger, right? Or Batman. It was a kind of a motorcycle wearing guy in a white mask, and he wore like a kind of like a turban with like a moon on it. So he's like Moonlight Mask, and you couldn't see him and stuff. And so they're celebrating its anniversary. And they also had like some manga and some other things as well that came out with it in the late 50s, early 60s. So one of the big villains, one of the main bad guys, was this kind of monster guy called Mammoth Kong. And you can see down in the picture here on that black and white photo, that's from like the show, right? A production still from the show. And he was one of the main bad guys. You could argue he was one of the first kaiju on TV, which is kind of cool. So they've done final figures in the past of his like TV representation, but they've never done one of his kind of his manga or comic type interpretation that was done in a series called Moonlight Mask Mammoth Kong Volume 1. And that interpretation, it will be done by this company, Tomonosuke, sculpted by Yohei Kaneko from Marusan Toys, which is really cool. They're going to have 3 colorways. This thing is going to be almost 13 inches tall. It's big. Wow. This was their test pool, this green one. We don't know what colorways they have. The best part, Jake, about this, you take the head off, the suit actor's head is going to be sculpted inside it. So it will have removable. So you can kind of see them drawing that up here. So even though it's this interpretation that's from the book, the 2D art, they're going to honor the suit actor by putting him in the sculpt. And I think this thing looks amazing. It's cool. It's off of like the most vintage of vintage tokusatsu there is. And the Mammoth Kong is going to see the light of day in vinyl form, at least from volume 1. So really cool stuff.
I mean, knowing literally nothing about this, never seen this before in my life. Having the suit actor's head underneath, that's what makes me want it. Like
100%, me too.
It looks so cool, like on display like that. Yeah, I love that.
And to my knowledge, this has never been released with English subtitles or dubbed or anything like that. I do know it's been released in media. I mean, it is a well thought of, historically significant piece of media in Japan, but like it's not one that's made its way over here. I mean, just to think it was 58, 59. I mean, it's getting there when like Varan is coming out, and here you have this dude battling Mammoth Kong and like Skull Mask and some other bad guys. I think one is called Hand of Satan is one of the other bad guys. Cool. But I thought the cool thing is like they took some of the art from the style of the manga, and if you look in the bottom right corner, that's the header card before the phone. It looks so cool. It looks so cool, and I can't wait to see the colorways they do with this and good stuff. I thought this was just a unique piece of kind of kaiju history, kind of time at the media, but also cool toy news that if I wasn't like looking for stuff to like, hey, what should we talk about today? I wouldn't have come across this. I would have known about this. And I would have seen somebody post it and have no idea what it was about. So really excited about this. Yeah,
very cool stuff.
The other thing, you sent me this. So I want to talk about this we heard today. Ultraman Rising, the first look, the Netflix anime. So that was dropped today or yesterday. Today? Was it today?
I think it might have been today. Yeah.
Yeah. So the name.
I feel like, so the picture in the top right, maybe that was released a while back.
It was. Yep. That was released before, I think in 2022, maybe.
Like
even.
Long enough for me to forget all about it.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, so the one on the left was what they released today with like the lights and all that stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, this is coming out, I guess this is coming out this 2024. We're getting a animated film. I don't think there's a ton of info. I don't know if you got any info here that I don't. I know we got that screenshots from 2022, huh? Yeah,
I think so. And I put the 2 things on the bottom here because as the name was released, Ultraman Rising, it made me think of, I know the Marvel comic is called Rise of Ultraman, so I didn't know if there was any connection there. And then they did when the name was announced, what I thought of was back at in 2022, they did an Ultraman Rising event, which was at Anime Expo, where it's like multiple Ultraman things having to do, I thought, with this. I know the guy that's directing this, what's his name? Shannon Dwindle? Something like that. Anyway, I know he was there as well. And so I was just like, okay, they called that Ultraman Rising. So you have this like event, stage show, interactive thing. You have Rise of Ultraman. And so like, to me, like the name just felt like it's all connected and feels very kind of the same world. But yeah, I saw this image today and I was like, I double take. I was like, where's Ultraman? I was like, oh, right in the middle. But it looks really cool. And isn't like ILM part of it and stuff?
Yeah, I think so. Like I the thing that I'm excited about is, even though we don't know anything about it, just from the photos, it feels like this might be a little more of a traditional Ultraman type thing than what's on Netflix right now. And I'm not knocking the Netflix show, but I want to watch Ultraman fight some kaiju. So I'm hoping 100%. That's what we're getting. And I like the look of this as well, because
me too.
Yeah, it looks pretty dynamic. I'm excited to see more of this.
Yeah, I saw in that article he said he was, very influenced by the original source material, but also manga, also Godzilla, Toho Scope films. I'm like, okay, there definitely feels like it's going to be like a heavy Showa, like that style, where it's like, let's get back to the classic stuff and see if we can do it look different, but be the same stuff, and see how that equation works. But I'm really excited. When you sent me this, I was like, heck yeah, I'm like kind of in an Ultraman mood today now.
Yeah,
like, dude.
yeah. Put you in a good mood for sure.
So the next thing, also kind of more on the media side, because I don't have any more toy stuff, but on the media side, I thought was cool was in a couple of days, actually the day after Kamanaga's book comes out, on the 21st in Japan, Hoshi 35 will be hitting theaters in Japan. This was the crowd-funded kaiju film using practical effects. It's done by the director that did couple more of the big indie projects, the Great Buddha Arrival, kind of the remake of it, and then Nezra 64, which was about the making of the 1964 rat monster film Nezra and that whole situation. But it's also starring like this whole cast of like Heisei and Millennium era Godzilla and Gamera actors and actresses. But the 35, it's a little bit of a mystery. It's like it's celebrating the 35th acting anniversary of Miki Sagusa herself, Megumi Odaka, but also it's like the 35 years since like the Heisei era. It's also, I think this the director turns 35. So it's one of these numbers that doesn't mean anything, but means everything, right?
Yeah.
But it has a lot of folks that like we know from the Gamera Heisei trilogy, from the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, from Godzilla versus King Ghidorah and Destroya and Space Godzilla. Like they're in this. Which makes it so cool. You're gonna have all these nice little Easter eggs. But if you watch the trailer, it's not a lot of kaiju in there, but you get to see this monster in kind of baby infant form. Looks awesome. I love it.
There's a lot of weird stuff happening here. The fact that this was crowd-funded and it's gonna be in theaters like that. I mean, I know like everything, they do everything different over there, but that is unheard of. Like a crowd-funded movie is like, it's going to be in the theater. I so watched the trailer today. Not a great trailer.
Terrible trailer.
Doesn't show you anything. If it wasn't for the fact that this cast was like stacked, I'd be like, whatever. Because so they do show you the baby form of the kaiju, which I thought looked like a brown paper bag with paint on it.
I loved it. I thought it looked great. I thought it looked great.
I had to pause it and go back. I was like, okay. It just, they show it to the pictures when I went and Googled, and saw more photos of the grown up kaiju. I think the design on the grown up looks great. I think it looks very cool.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot to do with the color of the kaiju. It just looks like a brown paper bag to me that somebody spilled paint on. But I'm super intrigued. The fact that Megumi is in this, I really love that. Yeah. There's a lot of great. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this is, what it's going to be like. I hope it's the kind of thing that's not. I hope it's the kind of thing that doesn't take like forever before we're able to watch it over here.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, it definitely has something that has like SRS cinema written all over it. But how can you think that this guy's a brown paper bag? Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
He's a little more cute. He's cute right here, but just the way he's presented in the trailer, it's so quick, and it's just like, what was that? It's hard to tell what's what on him, but yeah, he is cute. I'm not.
And it's cool to see Megumi Odaka, first film in 30 years.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I'm hoping it does well. And I do know they did a test screen for people, or not a test screen, a early screening for people already in Japan. And apparently the early indications that it was a really well done indie film. So that leads me to some, fingers crossed that we can actually see this. But I thought that was kind of cool. And I can't believe it's out in a couple days, which is nuts. So hopefully we'll get some kind of news on how well it's received and everything moving forward. But other than that, man, that's all I got. And I mean, we can chat trailers.
We'll just jump into the trailers. I mean, I guess there's not really like a ton to talk about, really. Yeah. But I'll tell you, Jay, I have been waking up every day with a heavy heart for poor old Megalon, because
poor
Megalon is, as anybody knows, especially anybody in the kaiju community, everybody knows that Megalon is the undisputed greatest kaiju in the world. Mm-hmm. And he turns 50 this year, and I feel like Megalon has been pretty neglected. I've been so bummed out about the lack of Megalon stuff we've been getting for the 50th anniversary. So much so that I was like, I bet we're not even going to get a Godzilla versus Megalon short this year.
Yep.
And then one day I woke up and this was right in my face. So we did get a pretty short teaser for the Godzilla versus Megalon short. I will say I would love to have a new Megalon suit. I would love to see a short that is, guys in a suit like some of the other shorts that have come out. But it's awesome to see like a Heisei Megalon. I like this, I like this Godzilla that we've been getting. We got a fucking teaser shot of an Emperor Antonio. I am 100. Like, this is the most excited for a Godzilla thing that I've been in so long, Jay.
Yeah. And you're going to get it pretty soon here. That's the cool thing. So
November 3rd or something?
Yeah. I think it's a
like
Godzilla
2 weeks.
Yeah. The thing that I like, and I hope that last year started a trend, because, we got the 2 shorts instead of the 1. Because the previous year, we got Godzilla versus Hedorah, the Suitmation, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Then we got Godzilla versus Gigan, which was like Final Wars Godzilla against Gigan, the Showa era, but they did the crowdfunding to get the suit done.
Yeah.
And it worked out and it was awesome. And so you had that, but you also had the animated, the CGI Godzilla versus Gigan Rex, and we get the new Gigan Rex and everything. And it was awesome. Get the 2. And this year, we know that Jet Jaguar is getting the crowdfunded suit. So there's our Suitmation. Whether is he going to fight with Godzilla, against him? If they're together, who are they fighting? Like, is it just going to be hanging out with Jet Jaguar at a bar? Like, what's going on there? So we have that piece, and now the CGI component is going to be this Godzilla versus Megalon. Maybe there's some twists and turns to Megalon, like we got with Gigan Rex, where there's like the Prime and the whatever, the little worker bee ones. So who knows? Maybe Emperor Antonio grows to kaiju size and fights alongside him. Who knows? Maybe Gigan Rex comes back. I don't know. It's really cool. I agree with you. I wish that we could get Megalon too, but my gut is that it probably was more expensive to crowdfund a Megalon suit than it was Jet Jaguar.
Of course.
And that was probably the easier one. But I think it's going to be awesome. And just seeing a new Megalon in any form on a Toho official property is awesome. And we're getting Seatopians. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
Seatopians. That is one thing that you think like, it is like such a weird throwaway thing in a Godzilla film that most people just don't know it. The fact that that little screenshot of them hiding the face of a Seatopian is just like, it's like my birth. Like, is it my birthday? I don't know. I love it.
What and that the thing like with Jet being the other one, and like instead of having like two monsters or two villains, like what are you going to do with the Jet one? I mean, like I'm intrigued on that one because what they decide to do and don't do with that one could affect what they do in here.
Well, I kind of wonder if the Jet one, since it's going to be like, I wonder if it's just going to be the Godzilla. What is it? The Godzilla 2000 or what? The Millennium Godzilla
the Final Wars. Yeah.
I wonder if they'll just reuse the Gigan and have like maybe Godzilla and Jet versus the Gigan suit or something. And then I also wonder if Gigan Rex might just be in this, and maybe that might be cool. So yeah, I don't know.
It just depends on continuity, right? Because didn't he kill Gigan in the suit one? I think he like blew his head off or something. But
but he's nobody even knows. He's a cyborg. Sure, he's got a new head. Who cares?
Maybe it's Jet Jaguar against Chainsaw Super Gigan from Empowered. That would be Showa era Jet.
That was so weird.
I don't know what that's funny, but it is to me. But yes, I don't have any expectations on this other than being awesome and good for Megalon. And I thought actually for like some of the shots they had with the CGI, I get like it's very CGI. It's a little bit like,
well, dude, the Seatopian, is that CGI?
I think that's
there's live action people in this, right? I don't think that doesn't look like a computer.
It's gonna be like an asylum film, you're gonna go and they have the CGI. It's gonna be Godzilla 98. But I love like the close-up shots of Megalon's head, like right here in the slide. Like I love it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I can't wait to see it. I really I think it's them doing the shorts for the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that's one of the most special things that Toho is doing with Godzilla right now, and I hope they put them out. I hope they. I know they're 8 minutes long or whatever, if that sometimes. But like, put them out. Put them all out on Blu-ray or something. Like, I would love that.
That would be so awesome. But but that's a couple of weeks. We'll be able to talk about it and give us our thoughts on the actual short, which will be amazing.
I can't wait. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, and hopefully we get something for the Jet Jaguar. We haven't heard anything, so
it's gonna be, dude. That's the thing. That's the fucking craziest thing about Toho is like, maybe it's just because they're in another country, and it's just further away from us. But when a movie's being made over here, whether it's fully CGI or there's actors in it or not, about it 3 years before it comes out. Yep. You're like, every little thing that happens, when casting happens, you know what I mean? If you follow a movie, you see everything. Toho, I wake up in the morning and there's a 3-minute Godzilla trailer for something I didn't know was happening. And Godzilla is my favorite thing in the world, and you'll just be like, what? There's a Godzilla trailer coming tomorrow at 12 o'clock and it's just there.
It's just there.
So I love that. I had no idea this was coming. We all thought maybe it was coming, but no info, and it was just there. So keep it up.
Yeah, awesome. But speaking of trailers, I think the biggest thing that came out, at least on this side of the world, was the full official kind of season preview trailer for Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Comes out a day before my birthday and exactly 1 month from this recording on November 17th. And so first off, before we get into talking about, I want to talk about the Kaiju stuff because that was really cool. But overall, what did you think of this?
Overall, I showed this to Jess later on the night, and the first thing she said was, "This is a TV show."
Yeah,
this looks like a movie. Hey, and you know what? This to me looks so good, Jay. I like that we're taking things a little more seriously. We're getting back into we're getting back into that 2014 vibe, and we're seeing that some of this takes place during the events of 2014. You're going to have we already know that Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell are playing the same character, but in two different timelines. But seeing actual scenes, there's lots of monster action happening. Everything looks everything looks more in tone with what I wish the MonsterVerse would have stuck with. I like
Yeah.
all the silly shit that we got, and I like everything that we're getting now. But the fact that like we're 3 or 4 movies in, and now the TV show is deciding to kind of reel it back and give feelings a little closer to 2014.
Yeah,
love that more than any like that. I love.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think this trailer looks like it might be the best thing out of the MonsterVerse, including even 2014. I think this could be that good. I mean, it does take place moments after 2014, and I like the fact. What I really like about that is, we know we have a 5-year gap in story and in real life between the events that end in San Francisco and what we get in King of the Monsters, right? Yeah. And maybe at some point, we can get so many monsters because, by the time we get to 2019, all these monster sites exist and all that good stuff. Like, maybe it makes 2019's wackiness not seem as wacky if they can somehow bridge that.
I'm pretty sure it came out that Mothra is confirmed for 2 episodes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So like it's gonna have that. It's gonna have a bridge. Like it's gonna happen. Yeah. Dude, Kurt Russell is such a good act. Like
he's my favorite.
When I found out Kurt Russell was gonna be in a Godzilla thing, I was like, oh, he seems like, I don't think anybody is above anything, but he feels like the kind of actor that's like above Godzilla movies,
He was above Expendables. He said he didn't want to be a part of an ensemble crew. I'm like, hey, yeah.
But dude, that line in the trailer where he's like, you could swallow that Monarch lie. I was like, oh, I am in. If you got Kurt Russell just talking about anything, I'm like, I'm in, dude. Yeah, it looks great.
And I thought one other thing in the trailer that was really cool was the cinematography and some of the visuals. It did remind me of 2014, and it really did. Like, I thought it was very serious looking stuff. And I don't know. I hope it doesn't screw it up, but I'm just really optimistic this is going to be excellent. And I know the word, and I didn't read any spoilers, but I know the word out of the screenings they did at New York Comic-Con for the first episode were like,
so annoyed they did. I didn't even know they did a screening.
Yeah. And it was for 1 episode, and apparently it was like, I think it's for mostly critics and stuff to get like the whatever. Was like overwhelmingly positive.
It was great. Here's my only worry, and this might be coming from nowhere, but like Apple TV, like, do people watch Apple TV? Like, I've never had
Ted
an
Lasso
Apple TV
helped.
account.
Ted Lasso helped.
Ted Lasso was Apple TV. Like, I don't hear many people be like, "Oh yeah, it's on. I'm watching it. It's on Apple TV." So it worries me that something I really like. I'm gonna get Apple TV just for the show. There's never been anything where I'm like, I have to get Apple TV. There's so many great things over there. Yeah. But I'm gonna get it to watch this, and I hope. I mean, that's in my mind. I don't know a ton of people. That doesn't mean there's not a ton of people watching TV, but I hope it's not that kind of thing.
It's one of those things that I think Apple TV, it's cheap, which is good. But the other thing is, like, it's had a couple kind of well-received shows like Ted Lasso and Shrinking with Jason Segel. And there's one of the ones with, was it Newsroom? Or one of those with like Jennifer Aniston and stuff. Like, a lot of people watch them, but like, to me, it always felt like it was one of those which we do, like, we watch it through our show and then we cancel and then we buy it back again. Yeah. It's not quite, there's probably not enough hit shows on there to be like, one of the bigger ones, but I do worry about that because the production value here has to be a very expensive show to make. I mean, the shots and Kurt Russell ain't cheap, but I mean, Apple has a few dollars in their pocket.
It's also crazy that we've gotten to a point. This is a completely other discussion, but it's crazy to me that we've gotten to a point where effects and CGI and just visual effects in general can look good enough. And I don't want to say be easy enough, but the fact that just like a TV show now, like I remember in 2014 when Godzilla came out, being really nervous about how the effects look, not like his design, but I remember being like, I want it to look I want the CGI to look good. I want it to be real looking.
It's
not like
it's shit. Godzilla TriStar PTSD, man. That's what
right. But it's like we've gotten to a point now where this is just a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, it looks great. Like, you know, the effects look great. It looks good.
And my favorite thing about that whole trailer was, even though it's a serious tone of 2014, and we know one of the best things that 2019 did was like all these like Easter eggs and homages. And I had to put the picture here. I loved Godzilla coming out of the sand and shaking it off in his head, just like Godzilla, how he emerges in Godzilla 4. I thought that was like a nice subtle nod to the greatest Godzilla movie of all time, Mothra versus Godzilla. But I absolutely love that, and that was my favorite shot. And he looked awesome in that.
Yeah,
on top of like whatever, just Easter egg homage or not, like that looked really cool.
For all we know, this is one of the episodes Mothra is in.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, that would be amazing. Well, I know we're going to talk about the kaiju. Yeah. Was there anything else that like out of the trailer that?
No, I mean, like it's a quick. I mean, I don't want to say it's a quick trailer, but you know, a lot of quick cuts, a little bit of dialogue here and there. I like that we're getting two different timelines.
Me too.
But no, dude, I think the thing to talk about is the kaiju.
Yeah. So I put now none of these are spoilers. These all were in the trailer.
Some screenshots?
I did. I grabbed some screenshots of some of these new Titans and what we've seen here. So we know Godzilla's in it. We know Mothra is going to have the two, which is awesome. But then there were what we think were 4 other monsters, or maybe they're all Titans, maybe they're not, that were captured in here. And the first one, and I put like, because there is a lot of supplemental content that, full transparency, I don't read the graphic novels and the comics that are supposed to be canon with basically that covers a lot of this time and a lot of the Titans that fight Godzilla during this time. And I have a feeling this MonsterVerse show might override some of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are thinking that could be the source content that's driving a lot of this. So I'm going by what some of these supplemental materials are saying this could be. So the first one, which I thought you would love the best, was that kind of Cthulhu looking thing that comes out of the snow with like all the tentacle looking things and the mouth and who God knows what, that apparently can freeze people, that whole scene. But
yeah,
people are saying this could be Titanus, Typhon, like the Greek monster of Greek myth. And who knows, maybe it is. I don't know enough about the backstory there from whatever comic it came from. But I thought this was a really cool monster and unique design. And I thought this would be something that, I don't know, it could be a big bad, maybe at least for an episode.
Yeah, I mean, clearly we don't know. I have a feeling Godzilla is not going to be an every episode type deal. So I wonder if we're going to get, like, if this is going to be the kind of show where there are fights happening every single show, or if we're going to get, maybe we're going to get this typhoon creature fighting whatever one of these others are. You know what I mean? Like, it might be that kind of thing. I don't, it's so hard to say any kind of speculation on what, I mean, like, the spider is the spider from Kong Skull Island. Like, we've seen that guy, but like, dude, I don't know, man. Typhoon, like, he looks cool. I like that he's got these weird like tentacles on his head. The freezing power is cool. Like, it's just gonna be cool to see new kaiju, man. I don't know, dude. He's so quick in the trailer. It's like this is literally the like only shot of him is coming out of the snow.
So. And the breath coming out for the freeze. And then you mentioned it. Going to the right, like the long legs. They say that this might be the debut of the Queen Mother long legs because of the sizes. It looks a little bit bigger than the ones in
I don't know. It's
in Skull Island.
That's so hard to tell. But the one in Skull Island looks huge. They're looking up at it, and it's like it looks like it's a mile tall. So I assume it's just another one of the same things that we saw in
that one in the trailer. And it could have been quirky editing. It could have been a trick, but like it appears that's the one that looks like it's chasing John Goodman's character. Sure. What's his name? Randa. But like a 70s version before he gets eaten. As opposed to like
Well, I wonder what they're doing there. Is that, and now it's been a while since I've seen Skull Island. Is that character ever hinted at like him already being on that? That's the only time he's been on the island is in Skull Island, right? because we
I
see
thought
him
so.
land. We see him land. We see him be like, "Oh shit, monsters!" And then we see him die. So
Yeah.
it's like, where is this footage of him coming? Where, like,
Yeah.
when was this? Are we just
Yeah.
seeing like really quit? Like, is he only going to be in it for a minute?
Yeah,
In
I
the
don't know.
first episode or something? Like, yeah, I don't know what we're getting of that. I was shocked he's even in it. Honestly,
Unless he's tied to a newer character like a son or something else like there that like he has the connection there. That would be the only other thing.
Yeah,
I can think of.
I felt like we've seen his entire time on Skull Island already. So I'm like, what is that? When was this? Well, when did they not show us this?
Hey,
in
found
Skull
footage,
Island?
Cloverfield found footage.
Yes.
The one below it is this is the scene where you go there in that room and you see all the egg and the larva, and then like they obviously break out and start chasing the folks. The speculation is that this could be one of the Titans, Titanus Abaddon, after the biblical Abaddon. That could be that was referenced, I think, in one of the named on one of the maps or whatever
things or something.
And I apologize, I'm not a biblical scholar, but apparently like bugs and locusts and what are creatures follow Abaddon. So like because there's so many of them and they're attacking, maybe they are going to their Titan prime of whatever. So but if not, it's just a lot of creepy bugs trying to eat people.
I can tell you what I thought it was because it wasn't that.
What was that? What did you think? What did you think it was?
I thought they were Muto. Babies, because the eggs look like the Muto eggs. One of the noises you hear, I'm like, that's it to me. I'd have to go back and watch to be sure, but I thought it was pretty clear that the noise was one of the Muto noises.
Oh, I like that idea.
I don't know if you remember this or remember reading anything about this, but remember in 2014. So remember, you know how 2014 starts with the kids in the school and and the power plant like crumbles, something makes it fall, but you never see what it is. Originally, that was a Muto, but it was a larva version of the Muto. And it got cut out of the movie, but the larva version of the Muto looked more like a worm kind of, or like an actual larva of a bug. And I thought, now this is the first time I've seen the screenshot, but in the trailer, when it happened really quick, I thought it looked like a giant maggot or something.
It did. That's exactly what it looked like.
Is that what it is? So I was like, oh, these are Muto. That's a Muto. But but that version of the Muto got cut out of the film, and they just went ahead and showed you when it breaks out of the chrysalis later. So the original plan was them to look like a larva, build the chrysalis, and then come out as a Muto. So that's what I was like, oh, maybe we're getting baby Muto in here. That's what I thought. The eggs look similar. I know they're not like laid in that, in the movie they're like kind of on a stalk or something, but I thought otherwise. That was, that's what I thought. I think they're they might be
and it could be, and we obviously know that the Muto has recognition, and would totally be something that I think people would like to see more of. So that's cool. And then the last one, which I thought was the most compelling, at least because we got two different screenshots, potentially, is a lot of people are saying this could be also from, I think, from Kingdom Kong, the graphic novel, Titanus Kamazotz, which is, this flying bat-like dragon monster-looking thing, and you do see it flying over in the shot, and that was on like the original teaser too. Yeah, and then you see it kind of if you stop at the right moment, you see it come out. It definitely has like a dragon bat type face looking thing. Looks really cool. I mean, looks relatively small. Don't think this would be like a baddie. Maybe it mutates into the thing above it. I don't know, or evolves into it. But I thought that looks like a cool new kaiju that we'll get to throw in there.
Yeah, dude. Any kind of flying kaiju is new. Dude, it's just I'm just excited that we got so many. Like, we're looking at potentially four brand new Godzilla kaiju, and I guarantee you this isn't it. Like,
oh no.
I don't know how many episodes this show is. But yeah, dude, I'm imagining we're gonna get so much more than this. And this guy, all these dudes look cool. Like just the teases look great. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, and we get Kurt Russell. And we get Kurt Russell.
And we get Kurt Russell. His hair is a kaiju, basically.
I know, right? Oh man, yeah. It's the other shot. Before I forget, the second shot that I thought was really cool, and it's me reading into it, but I think it could happen. But I really liked it. Was one of the shots at the end of the trailer when Kurt Russell's his character is in the helicopter or plane or whatever, and he's looking down, and it looks like it's out of the snow is like the hollow earth, like the lights and stuff coming in. It could be like one of the entrance points to hollow earth or whatever. And he's like looking at it like, I've been looking for this all my life type thing. Like, I thought that was a cool shot. Whether they edited it together and it actually fits there or something else. And also I love, like, we always talk about in the kaiju world, we love to see kaiju in the daytime and fights in the daytime. Yep. I love seeing kaiju in the snow. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's another thing you don't get.
A lot of snow stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, for sure. I think that visual is really great. I'm not like holding any hopes out for any known kaiju. I don't think we're getting a bunch of like Toho kaiju
I don't either.
that haven't already. Maybe like I said, Mothra has been apparently confirmed. Maybe we might.
I bet
Rodan.
I bet you Rodan.
Maybe we'll see Rodan. But they might. I bet you will get a King Ghidorah tease just because King Ghidorah is supposed to be frozen, I guess, this entire time. So I bet you we'll at least get like a name drop or something. But I'm not expecting to see any Ghidorah fights or any new. No. Classic kaiju showing up, but that's okay. I think the world needs new kaiju. I wonder if we're gonna get I feel like since 2014, was it 2014? The mammoth. Is that his name? The
behemoth.
The behemoth.
Titanus mammoth. Yeah.
I feel like that became kind of a fan. It's in a movie for 2 seconds, but it has such a fun, cool looking design. I wonder if we'll get that kaiju or some of those.
I think some of the ones that we saw, like not just their names, we actually saw them for a brief second, and they, when they paid their homage to their fealty to Ghidorah or Godzilla and King Monsters. I think Behemoth, I think Skyla, I think Methuselah, I think some of those that we saw in there. Totally,
we'll get some of those for sure.
Yeah, I think there was even a Muto in there as well.
There was.
So I think I have a feeling we'll get those. I hope for extended periods. But Behemoth, like I know from the comics and the supplemental stuff that it's considered kind of like a protector one, like not a
right.
It fights for good versus whatever.
You get
I think that'll be cool.
You get that vibe just from its design.
Yeah, it's very majestic,
it's not causing problems. Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see any of it, dude. Like the fact we did an episode within the last couple of months where we were like, "Hey, there's 2 new kaiju. There's a Godzilla trailer, and there's and it was like, isn't it insane that we just got because we got like Zero came out, and then there was another. What was it? Might have been the teaser for this show.
Yeah, it was the teaser,
and we talked about both of those at the same time. And now here we are with 2 new trailers, and it's just like we're in a good spot. There's lots of
and a Gamera Netflix series in between.
Gamera Netflix, and now we got a tease for the new Ultraman. I'm holding out hope that I'm gonna wake up one of these days soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, and there'll just be a trailer for Singular Point season 2. That's what I want.
I know.
So
I know.
But yeah, dude, good stuff, man. Good stuff all around. I'm excited.
Well, hey, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
And everybody's been asking me this. I can't even go to the grocery store without somebody stopping me and asking me, go, hey, when you talk to Jacob Walsh, the Tattoo Titan of Tokusatsu next, ask him, have you seen Shin Kamen Rider yet?
Oh my God, Jay. No, I haven't. Dude, life has been so busy. So many trips. There's so many movies that I need to see. And Shin Kamen Rider is the top of the list. I have not seen it yet. I'm gonna try. Honestly, I just keep forgetting, dude. I'm sitting around. It's October, so I'm sitting around trying to watch horror movies. Man, I'm a bad kaiju co-host.
No, it's a good one though. You should watch it. It'll fit in Halloween. You can make it Halloween.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll watch it. Jay, you got anything else?
That's all I got, my friend.
All right, man. Well, we're getting out of here. We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Bye. Adios.